Great. Well, a pleasure to see everyone as we're in this week. Lots of stuff happening at the synagogue, getting ready for our Rabbi David Ingber, our Rabbi Ellen Krauss Scholar in Residence, who I really hope that all of you will figure out some way to experience some of him at some point this weekend, because he's really a very, very deep teacher of mysticism, meditation, Judaism, all of those things. And he's been an important teacher for me, and inspiration. So lots of stuff happening. It's all on the website. And we are also getting ready for Passover. I know we just had Purim, but it's coming. And it's certainly in our Torah readings and our cycles, we have these special Shabbats. This last one is the last of 4 special Shabbats that prepare for Passover. It's called Shabbat HaChodesh, or the Shabbat of renewal, and really speaking about this time of Passover as really the beginning of the calendar, of the Jewish calendar, the beginning of time as we know it in the Jewish tradition. And that's a piece that I want to come back to in our meditation is, what does it mean to be present to the beginning of time? When do we start to track in our own moment-to-moment awareness a sense of one moment being different than the next, where we start to have a sense of things that are arising and falling and going away, as opposed to just the eternal present moment, meaning that time itself is, it might be really looked at as a construction of the mind. In some sense, when we sit in meditation, sometimes we can just be in the eternal present, be in a place that's beyond time. And then a thought starts or something else comes, and time, we start to tap back into that flow of that sense in our own minds of what it is that we call time. So Passover and freedom is a bit of talking about where is that place that time comes out of? Where do we start to, where's that place of beginning? So we're gonna touch back into that. This week in Parshat Vayechel, the last Parsha in the book of Exodus, it's really concerned still mostly with the building of the Mishkan, the tabernacle. You know, once we had the experience at Mount Sinai in Exodus, the whole rest of the book, for the most part, with the exception of the story of the golden calf, is really about the construction of the sacred temple in, the Mishkan. And really that story, or that process, those creation instructions, are really understood by our rabbis and especially our mystics as symbolic of doing holy work in the world. So what is it to do holy work in the world? Well, there's just work, there's melacha, and then there's work that has awareness of the divine presence that is infusing it and us and all of that. And really that kind of work with awareness is what the building of the Mishkan is really about. And what's interesting in this week's Parsha is that the way that the Parsha opens is it starts with another observance of Shabbat right after it launches into the building instructions for the sanctuary. So why does it bring Shabbat first before we go into the building of work? Well, the traditional commentary is that Shabbat is always primacy. We don't have Shabbat so we can work. We work for Shabbat. That really are the place of connection and openness and being together and being present that is held and symbolized by Shabbat needs to be the root of our life, that everything that we do in our life is so that we can facilitate that kind of awareness and that consciousness. But here, so that's one way of looking at it. And another level is that in order to do the kind of sacred work in our life that we need to do, meaning in order to do work in our life with an awareness of God's presence, we have to be tuned into a Shabbat awareness. We need to be able to be present with that. Otherwise, we cannot build the Mishkan. We just do whatever work it is. One of the teachings on this from the Me'or Einayim, from Rabbi Menachem Nachum of Chernobyl on the Parsha, he gets into the language of it, that it uses a passive language of talking about work with Shabbat. It says, if I can remember it, it says something like, Ki sheshet yamim, in 6 days, te'aseh otam melacha. So te'aseh, that in 6 days work shall be done. It's talked about passively in this part, not you should do work in the 6 days, but work should be done. Te'aseh melacha. And then it says, and on the 7th day, it will be a holy day for you. So he says, why is it that it's said in the passive? And I'll just quote him here. He says that it's because you want to practice the line from Proverbs, know God in all of your ways. Know God in all of your ways. That what faith is about being able to open to and be present with God in everything you do. Everything. The dishes, your conversations with people you care about, everything. And he says that faith lies in the root. With faith, you will surely know him in all your ways, thinking that it's not you, but rather the Torah that is doing this work, this commercial transaction, or whatever it is. It is the Torah within it. By Torah's hand, the act gets done on its own, and then garbing itself in you, the particular person, working through your limbs and speech as you fulfill the mitzvot that lie within this deed. So it's said passively that work will be done because it's almost saying that when you really open to God's presence in everything you do, then that presence, that Torah gets it done by itself through you. You become just the vessel for it. You become the garb, as it says. You're just the outer clothing for the deeper wisdom that is needing to be manifested in the world. So it's this way that we say that what does it mean for us to truly live the reality that we are in the divine image of God? It's to be God's hands in the world. It's to be in everything we do. And in order to be able to do that, there has to be a openness and awareness to be present with the depth of the moment in whatever we're doing, to be that vessel, to let Torah do the act through us. See if there's anything else here. Right, okay, that's good. So let's go ahead and get ready to sit. Find a comfortable place you can sit in for a period of time. We'll do a nigun, and then I'll have a poem to take us into silence. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. da da. I da 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 da. I da da I da 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 da. I 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 da da da. I da 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 da. I da 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 da. I da 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 da. I da da I da 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 da. I da 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 da. I da 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 da. I da 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 da. I da da da. I da da I da 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 da. I 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 da 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 da. I da 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 da. I da 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 da. I da da I da 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 da. From Rumi. There is a community of the spirit. Join it and feel the delight of walking in the noisy street and being the noise. Drink all your passion and be a disgrace. Close both eyes to see with the other eye. Open your hands if you want to be held. Sit down in this circle. Quit acting like a wolf and feel the shepherd's love filling you. At night, your beloved wanders. Don't accept consolations. Close your mouth against food. Taste the lover's mouth in yours. You moan, she left me, he left me. 20 more will come. Be empty of worrying. Think of who created thought. Why do you stay in prison when the door is wide open? Move outside the tangle of fear thinking. Live in silence. Flow down and down in always widening rings of being. So settle into your body, feeling that pull of gravity, creating pressure on your bottom and the chair, the place where your feet meet the ground, noticing that contact, that gentle weight of the feet on the ground. Notice the distance of your spine from the bottom of it to the top of your head. Noticing the gentlest of efforts that you use to sit straight, Feel the way your arms hang out of your shoulders and the resting place of your hands. Notice your entire body in space, from the tip of your toes to the top of your head, down to your fingertips. The pressure from gravity in your seat. Notice the expansion of the inhale as the air goes in through the nostrils or the mouth, and the whole body expands with the inhale. You're just breathing normally, but allow your attention to be so open that you can notice even the gentlest expansion. You can notice how the breath even reaches your toes and your head. And the way that the air leaves the body and it gently contracts on the exhale. When your breath finishes an exhale, notice that moment of stillness, that moment of still expansiveness right before the inhale begins. And when your inhale reaches its maximum length, notice the slightest moment of stillness before the air moves into the exhale, the breath and the exhale. Again, paying attention to that still place at the end of the exhale and at the top of the inhale. Allow yourself to notice that that still moment between the exhale and the inhale is a moment beyond time. It's a moment of ever presence. It's a moment of all possibility. And then the inhale begins, or the exhale. And we're thrust back into time. The passage of time with the movement of breath. And then we open beyond the time in that moment of stillness between the breath. And as you allow your attention to notice the expansiveness, the stillness of those moments between the breath, when the inhale starts again, stay present to that stillness, to that moment beyond time, even as the inhale starts and your body starts to expand, or the exhale leaves the body, contracting it. Stay connected to that stillness. So it's not a question of starting and stopping, but instead that still presence in between the breaths is the eternal reality. It is the ground on which the inhale arises from and goes back to in the exhale. We can stay present with the ground of being pure presence, even as the breath goes in and out. Each inhale or exhale is the beginning of time, the beginning of form, the beginning of thought. But where does it come from? What is the ever-present ground that thought and form and sensation all emerge from and go back to? As you keep your attention on that ground of presence, of being, of stillness that the breath comes out of and goes back into, consider that every part of your moment-to-moment experience is just the clothing for the divine presence that is alive in you. And everything that we experience moment to moment is just the vessel for a much greater love and creative force in this world. If you find your mind wandering, thought patterns and images taking you to different places, as soon as you become aware of where you are, bring your attention back to breath and back to that still, expansive space between the inhale and the exhale, between the exhale and the inhale. And as you stay rooted in that space of stillness, even as the breath rides on top of that ever presence. Well, any thoughts or questions or comments about anything we've shared this morning? Yes, Kathy, go ahead.
Um, what I wanted to share is that I think what you taught today is the key to everything that we do in life. We just get so busy and overwhelmed with all our responsibilities, commitments, and interests. And I do try to keep in mind that God awareness. But for me, just saying the word God, I'm conflicted because I don't have a strong sense of God. But yesterday, we were at the funeral of a dear friend close with our family, and Abe Zerum, who passed away, invented a camera, the fastest lens in the whole world, that was allowed him to study a spark, an electrical spark. And it's the spark that I would use to term God. It's all the teaching of the Torah, the messages, the stories, the lessons. And for me, spark just holds better in my mind. And by the way, Ellen's father came all the way from back east with his family to work with Abe Zerum. And Ellen, I should have told you about the funeral. We should have driven out there together, you and Duncan and Rob and I, and I'm so sorry. I hope you can forgive me for not letting you know. That's all.
Abe was 106 years old. And Rabbi Walpe did the eulogy. And yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that, Kathy. And I want to just, I appreciate you saying what you said specifically in that every single person, I mean, I know on this Zoom here, really has a very living reality in their hearts of God. And I guess what I want to encourage is the challenge is that with the language is that so much of us have gotten all kinds of other things, baggage that is, associated with that word God, that makes it seem like it's different than the spark that you're talking about, Kathy. And so I just want to really encourage that when we encounter this kind of religious language, wherever it is, that each one of us feels the full permission, 100%, to translate that in your own way to what way of holding that ultimate reality is most comfortable and makes most sense to you, because it's just language. But it's important that we use language that resonates for us. So thanks for doing that translation, Kathy.
There.
I'm worried.
Hi. Yes, I find, I'm always in the busy mind, and I just figured out I have to kind of just settle, like during the meditation, or I say to myself, okay, give it a rest. So I give myself, because I really like that state of, I don't know what to call it, the empty mind of just kind of sitting there and, having things flow around me. So it works, I guess, here and there. And it's the same thing of, I guess what you're saying is, you do what you can, you do your best, you do what you can. And to be able to be really in the moment with other people. I'm going to take another couple of minutes to tell a story. The phone is ringing. The story of a cousin of mine who was, she's deceased now, but she was a teacher with the Yoga Society of New York, and was someone who had this following of people. It took me a long time to figure it out. People just adored her. She was a teacher. She had been an actress. She had this marvelous voice. But she had this following. People came to her all the time. And it wasn't like she was a trained counselor or anything like that. And I finally just figured out, no matter what she said to you, she made you feel good about yourself. No matter, I never could understand. It just opened her mouth and something came out that made you feel good about yourself. And I remember when I finally realized that, and I said that to her, Joan, I figured it out. You just have this way of just looking at people and saying things to them, and they instantly feel good about themselves. And then she starts telling me something really good about myself that I figured that. I said, Joan, you're doing it right now. She says, I know, I can't help it. I don't know why I'm telling you that. I don't know why that came to my mind.
It's very connected to this, Maury. And what I want to posit in what you're saying, whether it's true or not, but this is how I hear it, is that it's not so much in what she says to you that makes you feel good about yourself, even though there might be words that do that. But my guess is that she sees the divine image in each person. She sees what we're talking about when we're saying, know God in all your ways, know God in people, in the things that you do, be that vessel, that she looks and sees that presence in you. And the reason why you feel the way you do around her is because that's what she's reflecting back to you, your own divine nature. So the words are just the toppings on that kind of essential awareness and presence. But what you're also sharing, I want to connect it back to what Kathy was saying too, is I also agree that I feel like this teaching that we started out with is kind of the essential, it's the part of life, but it's so hard to do all the time, and life gets busy and stressful. And that's part of the reason why I think it's so important to look at how the mystics look at this piece of Torah, which is that Shabbat is always said primarily, is taught, is given primacy over the building of the sanctuary. That in some sense, that if we are not doing regular practice, if we're not practicing, if we're not creating some kind of boundary in our life in order for us to put our attention and choose what is in the moment, it will become too easy throughout our day to think that other things are more important, to think that the work that we're doing without the divine presence even being there at all is what it's all about. So ultimately, when the strength of our meditation, the strength in our ability to put our attention on the moment and that more expansive nature of our awareness, it's a choice. It's the strength of our choice. It's making the choice over and over again to do it. And what part of what this practice and what this training is, we'll call this meditative contemplative training, is training us, practicing choosing the moment, choosing to be present to this reality of spark that we know in our hearts over and over and over again. Because the way that we were raised and all the messages that we get from our culture and from everywhere around us is saying, no, put your attention here. Put your attention here as in some way separate from this living divine unfolding that's here. No, this is what's important. Put it here. And so constantly, whether it's in our meditation or it's in our life, we're choosing to kind of go somewhere else. And so that's what this is. It's a training practice. And we always just do the best we can, and we practice, and and there's no place to get to. It's just how deeply can we be with the moments of our lives.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Terry, nice to see you. Dennis, did you have something?
Let me unmute. Sometimes when I'm working on my photographs, so doing art, afterwards, after I'm finished, I have this feeling like it wasn't me. Somebody was working through me. And it's also akin to what you were talking about, is having God work through you to accomplish the work. You're the vessel for the work, but it's God's work. Yeah. And it's really a terrific feeling when it happens. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. And I just love the feeling of it.
That's great. Yes. I think probably a lot of us can relate to being in an artistic moment. That part of what that feeling of having it being done through you is that you're so present in the process of what you're doing, right? And that also comes to when we're so present in the process of what we're doing, time, right? Time just kind of dissolves in there. And the reality is, and this is coming back to it again, is because time as a, what do I want to say, like objective kind of substantive reality really doesn't exist. There is just only the moment, the eternal moment, here, here, here. It's our minds tracking and differentiating that, oh, what we did before, the memory of what we had of a particular moment is suddenly compared against this one. And we have this sense that things are moving in this way like this. But as soon as you engage in meditative practice, artistic practice, that whole sense of linearity just dissolves away as you're in the reality of the moment, of whatever it is that you're doing and bringing it forward. So I'll just say, and connecting this also to our holiday of Passover coming up, right? This week is the last of those special Shabbats that I was talking about. It's called Shabbat HaChodesh, or Shabbat of the month. And it really is the Torah reading that we're doing, besides the whole reading about Passover story, is that the beginning, this shall be the first of the months for you. This is the beginning of the calendar. Springtime is the beginning of time. right? So this kind of newness is this opportunity to bring our attention to renewal, chodesh, which means chadash means new, and month means renewal. So this newness that is coming forward is coming as a birth, a beginning of time. And we can really say that any moment, obviously, is a beginning of time. This is the first day of the rest of your life, which is for sure true. But any point at the beginning of time when we begin to bring our awareness to that place of beginning, then we get to ask, what do I want to create? What's the flower that I want to grow this spring? Because if this is the beginning of time, then I'm not wedded to everything that came before. Everything that came before, everything that I'm carrying does not have to define what I'm going to move forward with now. The beginning of time mean it comes from that openness, that expansiveness, that all possibility. And this is also kind of the secret of Teshuvah that we also explore on High Holy Days, which is every moment is a choice and an opportunity to return to what is most true. We are not bound by everything that's come before us.
Hi there. I'll just say hello.
Good.
It's so nice to be here. I'm back from Northern California. I thought I was moving there, so I've been there for about 3 weeks. And anyway, that looks like that's shifting. But I really resonated with the Rumi poem and just appreciated this group. I remembered, oh, it's Tuesday. There's a meditation group. So yeah, so I missed the very beginning. I apologize, but I came right at the right moment. When you were, sharing, and then you read the Rumi reading, which I think was really just kind of perfect for me. Yeah, so I am really at that moment in life where there's just so much. It's just so much possibility, and just really leaning into like what's possible, and really just trusting. So that's kind of what's up for me right now, is just sort of trusting and just noticing how the things that I've said that I want to see happen, they may not happen the way I expect them to, but they're coming. I'm like, oh, okay, so it came that way. It's kind of interesting, and it's really I'm just full of gratitude for you, gratitude that I dropped in today. Gratitude that there is this space. And I say that I've said that to you before in Judaism, where I can sort of like, oh, okay, this is like, because that's kind of new for me. To find this in Judaism, and potentially a practice there for me. So thank you again. And thanks to everyone just for creating the space.
Thank you, Terry. It's great to see you and have you. For those of you who were on this last meditation retreat, Terry was scheduled and signed up to be a part of it and to do our sound bath. And she got sick and wasn't able to, but has very much feeling your connection in with this community, and so glad that you're joining us in this. And before we close, I just want to say, with all of that, I want to give some more specifics about our David Ingber weekend, because it's really just up the alley of everybody in this group. I really hope you'll take advantage of it. It starts with Thursday and online at 12:30. It's an online co-sponsored with Community Scholars Program, our session with Rabbi Ingber about neo-Hasidic texts, spirit, and that's place in Judaism right now, these kinds of ways of looking at Torah in this deeper spiritual meditative way, and kind of not only the phenomenon of that, but an opportunity to learn with him. Then on Friday evening, we have our Soul Spark Shabbat, right, which is just a real deep meditative service, which Rabbi Ingber will be joining us for, and doing some leadership in. And then after that, there is a dinner and a talk. You have to register for the dinner. I would say, if you can swing it, if money is an issue, let me know. I'm happy to support anybody in being able to be and join for the whole experience, and being there for dinner and enjoying Shabbat, and because then Rabbi Ingber will talk a little bit afterwards. And you're welcome to come and not eat dinner. You still need to register, but you can come and listen if you want. But I would rather seen everybody having a nice meal here too, if you'd like. So I'm happy to help make that happen. But you do have to register either way for that Friday night dinner or talk. Saturday morning, he's going to lead a Saturday morning service in the sanctuary. I mean, not the sanctuary, in the chapel. And it's going to be a Romamu style service. He leads a community in New York called Romamu, and it's an amazing meditative davening space with music. And that's going to be 9:15 through noon. And then there'll be lunch in the banquet hall with another talk of his. And all of this will be in the, and his talk is about brokenness, from brokenness to wholeness, really some beautiful deep Torah on that. So please take a, and you don't have to register for the Saturday thing. You can just come. I will say that the services, the Soul Spark Shabbat service and the Saturday morning service will be live streamed, but the talks in the banquet hall will not be. So I want to let you know that in the banquet hall, it's a big space. We are going to have some chairs that are around off to the sides there. So if you're concerned about COVID issues and that kind of thing, you're going to be able, you don't have to sit at a table with people. You can also go to the to sit around the sides of the banquet hall with a space between people to hear the talk and of course be masked. Susie.
Will there be a link sent to us for the Thursday online event?
So what you do is nobody's going to send you a link, but if you register for it, there's a click on the website, on all this, on the website, on the Rabbi Ingber page, and on all the emails. I think there was one that just went out here. It says register here. And so what you do is when you click that, you go to the Community Scholars registration page for this online event. And you really just put your name and your email. That's all that they really ask for. And then they will email you the link, the Zoom link.
Okay.
And it's automated, so it will happen instantly. But if you wait until like right at the 12:30 section to register and get the link, you might be a little bit late.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sure, Ellen.
Yeah, I guess I misunderstood. So the Thursday, the watch party.
Oh, I didn't say about that. Yeah, there's that too.
I get, okay. Yeah, that's the watch party, right? So is that going to be at the temple if we choose to be together?
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
so the Thursday piece is online, so you can do it anywhere, but we're having a watch party in the chapel at the temple where we'll be projecting it on the screen, and anybody who wants to come and be together and watch it and then get to talk about it afterwards or whatever, have that, there is that space that's being created. So feel free to show up at the temple on Thursday to do that 12:30 piece.
Oh, okay, good. I thought I misunderstood. But I mean, and just to share briefly is that I'm looking forward to the weekend. We talk about the spark. We talk about always thinking about what you have to do next and people telling you what you have to do. For me, the weekend will be a time to disconnect from all of that and to just put myself into this other realm, which I put myself into when I'm choreographing or doing, it's very familiar to me to go into another place. And this weekend, will provide that for me also. So hopefully some of you can join us and participate.
Awesome. I'm glad you said that, Ellen, because that's the opportunity. We've constructed this as a Shabbaton. So a Shabbaton really being a full Friday night, through Saturday experience. So if you want to kind of create that more deeper awareness where you're just practicing and thinking about these kinds of deep Torah thoughts, experiences, you can use it that way as opposed to just coming to an event here or there if you're able to. All right. Yes. Last question.
Sorry, I just had one quick question for the dinner. If you're like, I'm plant-based, is it okay to bring something to just have my own,
Yes.
meal if I want to come and just sign up for the speaker?
Yes, and I will tell you that there are two options. There's one plant-based option, but it's not. No, it may have dairy though, but there's a pasta option. There's a really beautiful salad that's happening there. And but yes, Terry, you can bring your own food and just sign up for this.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
I did see there was a pasta, but it's a dairy one. So I was just like, okay, if I bring
Yeah,
something, but
Yeah,
okay.
don't let the food thing keep you.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Bring
Okay,
your
that
own.
sounds amazing. I think I might try to come to that. Okay, thanks.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon. Hope to see you this
Thank you.
weekend.